Welcome back to SwitchCorner. My name is Alex and today we're taking a look at my favourite deals under $10 or of course your local currency. That's because here I cover eShops in the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. If you do want the, bigger price points though, check out my Saturday edition which is Any Price Goes. This is a monster of a week though. I'm way above 10 games, that is for sure. So with that luck, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family and let's get started. So before we do kick this off, a warning: the UK, EU and Australia for the last couple of weeks, they've absolutely run away with the better deals. That's been reversed this week. It's our turn in the US and Canada. I don't want to waste anyone's time though, so I'm going to be starting with the smaller all-region deals before then closing with a whole lot of US and Canada exclusives. That way, if you don't want to region hop, you can drop off the video. I absolutely appreciate you watching that far, and yeah, simply just trying to avoid wasting anyone's time. So first up, Dex is back with a new all-time low of 70% off. This one, it's a 2D cyberpunk action RPG, and playing as Dex, our lead, you are hunted by an organisation who wants your unique abilities. It even has some almost minor elements of beat 'em up, but the combat's not the strongest, honestly. Come here for a good story, a whole host of characters to meet, and some incredible cyberpunk visuals. It's pretty surprising as well, I've got to say, how big this world is, and they absolutely deliver on the typical cyberpunk tone. Just know though, it is also not an easy game. This thing kicked my ass from literally the very beginning. Then Jump King, and I just can't finish this game. It drove me crazy, and the idea is simple. You are a knight and you must save the smoking hot babe at the top of the tower, as the game puts it. What can you do? Simply jump. Miss a landing though, and most of the time it's going to be all the way back to the bottom. Addictive, infuriating, and only for the most hardened. This is absolutely a badge of honour if you can beat it. If I had to compare it to any other game out there, think Getting Over It. It's just designed to make you suffer. 50% off though, it's a new all-time low. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is back on sale, matching what we saw in the November sales, and I love this game, so it's very easy to recommend. A fast-paced arcade racer set around the best scenes from The Phantom Menace. Many will probably say the only good scenes as well. While it's not the deepest of racers, then it's a nice HD upgrade. There's a decent track selection, and there's even some customization options when it comes to your pod. The only thing it's really lacking, online multiplayer. I think it would have been near just perfect if they could have got that in there, but you can't complain with 50% off. If you like your Star Wars as well, just know I'm also seeing 50% off for Jedi Knight 1 and Jedi Knight 2. A couple fast ones here now. Figment is back on sale with 81% off. It's a fantastic and very surreal action adventure with puzzle elements. You'll take on the role of Dusty, who is out to clear this person's mind of evil. That's because Dusty, you're very much inside someone's head. Dusty was once their voice of courage. I love this game from the gameplay through to the style. It is absolutely worth it, and I do think it's one of the better looking games handheld. Then a pickup for me, so I can't necessarily recommend it. I'd even say it's considered pretty average, but Vice. It's a retro pixel style gallery shooter. It's offering a huge 80% off, so I figured I'd give it a go finally. If you do want to try it before you buy it, it also has a free demo live on the eShop as well. Our final all-region deal then down in Bermuda, a bite-sized puzzle adventure that started its life on Apple Arcade and has now made its way to the Switch. Help a stranded pilot though escape a set of islands in the Bermuda. I reviewed this one just yesterday on the channel, which I will link above, but it only released today as well, the 14th, and it's already offering a huge 60% off. It for sure overcomes what was one of my biggest issues. I felt the game was a little expensive for something that you can wrap up in roughly 3 hours. I'd take a look though, honestly. At this price it is a bit of a steal if you do like your puzzles. Alright, so now North American exclusives, or at least for the moment. Hopefully some of these will hit the UK, EU and Australia, though I know some of them also, they were live like last week. This was kind of the sale reaching us now as well. There's somewhere in the region of 20 games though, so do get comfy for this one. So first, Cydia Brass. It's a new all-time low with a monster 90% off, and this comes from the team behind BioShock. Think here, first-person action adventure with a whole lot of combat, but to really kind of spice things up, it's also a roguelike, so expect to get your ass handed to you near constantly. The Castlevania, Contra and Arcade Classics collections, they're finally on sale in the US and Canada. It feels like these, they always seem to drop in price in the UK, EU and Australia, but for some reason we never really see them that often here. Well, now we're getting them at 75% off, and these are a steal. That price above that is obviously for each, but each collection is handled near perfectly with unreleased games, and then some stunning digital books that cover the entire development process, and they're well worth a look. Make sure you check them out because I spent a lot longer in them than I expected. Blaster Master Zero and Zero 2, they're both on sale as well, offering 50% off. These are fantastic action adventures that have elements of side-scrolling run and gun as well as top-down elements, and they built upon the original 1988 release, so they very much feel old school. These were so much better than I expected though, with tight mechanics, old school visuals and old school challenge. The first entry, it's for sure hardcore 8-bit graphics. I think the sequel kind of pushes beyond that just a bit, but it was the depth that caught me off guard, from things like power-ups to different techniques you can use. In the first though, you'll be saving the world, and the second, it's basically following up on those events. A new all-time low then for Valley, a huge 80% off. In fact, I was really impressed with this one, and I wouldn't say I had huge expectations going in. Think a first-person adventure with some minor combat, but it's actually kind of similar to a walking simulator, except here you can do a whole lot of running and jumping thanks to an exoskeleton suit. If you die and fail though, the world around you it's dying too, so get to the bottom of this mysterious location. Also, I just want to add here, this one's just a beautiful game. I love the whole style of it. Two from the same team then, these are always worth a mention. First, Limbo, an absolute masterpiece with 66% off. I don't want to say obviously too much. The eShop here, the description, it's very much purposely sparse. I want to keep it that way, so let me just say what it says there. Here, expect to take on the role of a young boy uncertain of his sister's fate. He enters Limbo. It's basically a deadly black and white world, and think 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformer. Then inside, same idea, near black and white world, and you'll take on the role of a boy that's hunted and alone, finding himself drawn into the centre of a dark project. Another masterpiece and another 66% off. My pickup then, can't necessarily recommend it, but Postal Redux, I'm grabbing this because it's seeing 40% off, and honestly that's now low enough for me to give it a go. I wouldn't expect honestly huge things from it. Controversial at time of release back in the day. By today's standards, it's kind of a pretty basic isometric shooter that lent heavily into things like shock factor. I'm picking it up though because it seems it's been removed from the UK, EU and Australia eShops. I'm not sure what the reason was, can't really find any information on it, but I'm going to jump on it now just in case. A hidden gem now, Far Lone Sails, is a stunning bite-sized adventure where the concept is simple. Travel across this barren landscape in a land ship and simply keep things moving forward and ticking along. Side-scrolling, it's not driving but more think pushing buttons to activate elements of this craft, and it's got a really unique approach from the gameplay to the graphical style to the absolutely stunning soundtrack. At 50% off, it's an absolute must buy in my opinion, but just know it is short. But learning about this lost civilization, it was an absolute pleasure to experience. Well, we talk short games. I actually mentioned this one probably a couple of weeks back now, but I'm going to give it one last shout out. A Short Hike, it's back with 20% off. If you like your adventure experiences, then this is absolutely just worth your time. Really loved it myself. It was one of my favourite games of 2020, and that was everything from the charm of the visuals to the cutesy soundtrack to the simple but kind of very open gameplay. It all just came together perfectly to form a little bit of escapism in what was a disaster of a year. All said though, a single playthrough, maybe an hour and a half, but I've already been back twice and I do intend to revisit it again. Alright, so Grimvalor, you don't see this one on sale too often, but it's currently got 50% off, which is a decent deal. This actually started its life on Apple and Android before coming to the Nintendo Switch. I reviewed it here on the channel back at release, and I was actually very impressed. It's an award-winning hack and slash adventure that for sure then contains some minor elements of Metroidvania, just for good measure. Some fun boss moments though, think upgrades, new game plus as well. There's a decent chunk of content in here as you try to get to the bottom of a missing king, and there's going to be a lot of obstacles in your way. DEVOLVER then, they pretty much have everything on sale right now, so I'm going to make this one a little bit easier on myself. Think Enter the Gungeon, Exit the Gungeon, Gris, Ape Out, the Talos Principle, Katana Zero, My Friend Pedro, Broforce, Hevo, Ruina, Minute, The Swords of Ditto, Crossing Souls, the Red Strings Club, the list goes on. I won't break them down individually, but DEVOLVER nearly always deliver with quality, and every game I just mentioned matches the all-time low price we've ever seen, so do check out some of their IPs, see if there's something worth adding to your library. Our final 3 games then, and these are absolute classics. We've seen them before, but great games to add to your library if you haven't already, and they're personal favourites of mine. First, Horizon Chase Turbo, this arcade racer. It's a small piece of genius. Just think old school Top Gear kind of gameplay, then Outrun in its visual style. Don't overthink it, basically just go really fast and get to that finish line, while of course working through then the ton of modes that are on offer, or even probably the best way to experience it, playing local multiplayer. It even has a few cheap DLCs too, which they're absolutely decent. They add new campaigns and track layouts. A great deal with 75% off, and it comes highly recommended. Our penultimate game of the week then, Ghostbusters the video game remastered. I played this when it released way back in 2009. It holds up to this day. It's a third-person action adventure, and just prepare to explore a ton of locations, see a whole lot of references to of course the movies, and tackle a whole host of ghosts. I think the most important element of this one though, it's the story. It's voice acted by the original cast, and then this story was even written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. So Ghostbuster fans, buy this immediately with 75% off. I just don't think it's going to get too much cheaper than this anytime soon. The final game of the week then, Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger. Mega Man fans, this one's also a must buy with 40% off. It's a 2D action platformer. It puts you in the role of a hero out to protect a group of survivors in a ruined society. The gameplay, think some serious challenge, but also more depth than you may expect. So think mechanics like co-characters who can potentially help you, boss moments, and also a ton of different skills and high score chasing. This one's not bad for length too. It took me about 5 hours total on like how long to beat. They're saying about 3, but it definitely took me a little bit longer. I guess it depends on how good you are, but the high score chasing definitely gives you a good reason to return. And that is it, another week down, and it is a monster week for those of us in the US and Canada. Outside of these regions, pick up a gift card and consider doing some region hopping, you know. Take advantage of some of these deals because they are really good, and I doubt we're going to see anything cheaper anytime soon. With that then, a shout out to the patrons of the channel though, who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Helps more than you know. We've had like 4 new members join us in the last week, which is just absolutely incredible. So thank you all so much. And then hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.